This is Deborah Johnson for Women at Halftime with successful solutions and systems to create your ideal second half. We help you unlock your potential using your valuable skills, resources, and talents to create your ideal work and lifestyle at halftime. Hello, it's Deborah Johnson back with you again today, and I'm really excited to be here with you again today with a wonderful subject. I've really enjoyed producing these podcasts and episodes just because there's some such great subjects and mindsets involved in doing so. And today is no exception. Dream a little dream. Define your dream job and schedule. And I always think of that little song, Stars shining bright above you. Dream a little dream of me. But yeah, we're going to talk not just about dreaming of a person. We're talking about dreaming of a job and what your ideal schedule, your ideal lifestyle would be. And it's really a great one to approach as this episode comes out toward the beginning of the year. The first thing that I'd encourage everyone listening to do is to really think about what you want your life to look like for your business and your personal life. What do you envision? And this is all about halftime, age 40 and above, of course. But how do you see your life? Do you see it staying the same, or how would you see it changing? And for those of you who are just at the beginning of this halftime journey, this is a great time to start thinking about it. You might feel like, I'm too young. I've got lots and lots of years ahead. I would say you don't know that. So to at least think about it. And so that's what this episode is all about, is to start, thinking about it, putting some plans, maybe tentative plans in place. So anyway, I have a couple great principles that we will walk away with, but we're going to start with, how to even define your dream. And most of you listening, and myself included, have heard of the dream boards and how you put those together and you gather the pictures and you put them on. This is the type of house I want to live in. This is where I want to work and all of that. And you're aiming toward that. And all of that is fine and good. That's great to do. But I am after, at halftime especially, and I'm not going to knock that at all, but make your halftime work really specifically for you. At the end of your halftime years, are you going to think, I just want this big, massive house? And if you're thinking that way, you want to make sure you evaluate how much it is to do the upkeep on a house like that and how much it is to manage. If you want more freedom of your time, you want to just maybe scale down a little bit. So think of some of those things. That's all in your lifestyle. And do you want to travel? And do you want to travel a little bit more, or more like for combining work and your just the entertainment part of your travel for pleasure? So those are great things to define. And I have done that for my business, especially this year, the past years, but going through a lot of changes because of family issues of, losing my parents and all the management that happened in that time. But in reevaluating, okay, I'm feeling the time clicking along a little bit quicker. And one of the biggest issues that I hear very often is that people are under this time crunch and they feel like everything's just crammed together. So if you want a little bit of a freer lifestyle, let's look at your work, let's look at your schedule to start making some of that happen and plan in times that you're not feeling so scattered and so rushed. So, I have decided that I want a certain part of my business that will be me showing up live, because I've done that a lot in the past as a musician, as an entertainer, and, doing engagements all across the country, even all over the world. and wanting to be putting more of my work online virtually and doing more travel with my husband. And so we can enjoy that time. And I usually always, I have to admit, I usually always bring my laptop still because I just love my work and I'm going to keep writing. But I can at least combine that with some of our travel. So, and go ahead and take the time. You will have a free handout in this for this, and I'll tell you what that is at the very end, the link for that, because there'll be a free download. But put down the percentage of your live and your online work if you're considering of doing any online work. Now, online work includes webinars, it includes masterclasses that can be online. There are so many tools to be able to do that right now. There's just a lot of those. If you're into training, even if you are doing another type of job, you can put part of that work even virtually. One of our sons, who's an attorney, most of the time he goes to the office, but sometimes he can work at home as well. He's at a different stage of life than the halftime people, so that we are, But still, already he's thinking of how much that he likes to be able to have a little bit of that freedom in a very intense field. So anyway, there are a lot of possibilities there with some of your education and background. And again, there are a lot of other of these episodes where I talk about, the value of your skills. So, and how far in advance then should you plan? So that's a really good question. As I've taught even music business courses at the college level, I've usually had them do the 1 year, 3 year, 5 years. And I think that's a good sort of gauge for us to kind of think ahead. It's a dream, at least, where you would like to be in about 5 years. And I know that I want to be able to work really well into my 80s if I can. I know people that are like 90s, especially in the music field. There's no reason, if our health holds up, that we can't keep doing some of the things we absolutely love to do as long as we are mobile. So that is, and even then, there are things you can do if you keep your mind active and you keep, pursuing that lifelong learning attitude and keeping a healthy attitude. So, but at least the next 5 years, think about really where you want to be. And sometimes it's hard to think of exactly where you want to be. But I would say do that and then back up from there, at least kind of one of the main things. And I say just define one thing for where you want to be in 5 years, one thing for where you want to be in 3 years, and maybe one thing where you want to be in 1 year. So keep it simple. Just you can be as involved as you want, but that's a lot less overwhelming. If you just want to be kind of general, that's okay as well. But again, you get back to that principle. If you aim at nothing, that's exactly where you may end up. So it's nice to have some sort of plan ahead. And if you've got the yearly planner, if you were able to download that, that is a free download from one of our past episodes as well. That in there is that, that sort of planning ahead to look ahead and at least be more specific about your next 90 days. And I'm going to talk about habits here in a moment, but your next 90 days, you can be a lot more specific. And I go by quarters with my year. I'm a lifetime entrepreneur. I've been doing this a very long time. But I've learned from the field that I'm in now, which is more speaking and workshops, and that's where I've really focused in the past years. I still work as a professional musician, and I still write. I have two businesses going at the same time. And I've learned the basic business, and I've learned the entrepreneurial route, all of that through my music, and also a lot of discipline, because being trained as a concert pianist, there's a lot of discipline that happens in that field and in the training and vocally as well. And when you combine those things together, there's a lot of exact repetition that goes on and exact training and putting together shows, pacing shows. But I really learned how to scale a business a lot more in the speaking field. And that's really where I'm helping people develop their successful systems at this point because it works. It definitely works in combining some of those things together. And so as that entrepreneur that I have been and will continue to be and help many other people in this process, really figuring out your next 90 days and really evaluating then, and then do the next chunk. I do a lot of life projects by chunks. And then pretty soon you're just going to be at a year and you will find that you've really, really moved ahead. So again, planning, how important that is, the 5, 3, 1 years, but especially in that 90 days being more specific. And that making those dreams, but yeah, put that dream job, your dream schedule, how much you want to work in that. And I want to bring up the point here of habits and of a good rut, a healthy rut will help you. It's a management tool. It will help you achieve your dreams. Believe me, it will, little by little. I love that book that came out, Atomic Habits by James Clear. And he really emphasizes that little habits can make all the difference in dreams realized. And he talks about the habit stacking. And I sort of implemented this even in my workout, because I've done this for years, kind of naturally, kind of building upon this. And I've sent my body to the gym for years. It's just a habit. Now I automatically get up. I never set the alarm ever. And it's just, I've just developed all of these habits and routines and it's hard to get out of those sometimes, but my body responds to that and just my schedule, it keeps me on track. And yes, I definitely take breaks as well. But I decided, I'm going to try this with my workouts. I served as president of an organization, nonprofit, for a year, and I call it the Presidential 5. I put on 5 pounds. I put on the Presidential 5, as I'm saying. And I kind of wanted to take those off because it just feels like a little bit of dead weight there on me. And I just, I don't really have a problem with my weight. Very fortunate. I got both of my parents' genes, so that was very fortunate. Although I eat pretty healthily, I do like my chocolate, do like my desserts. Yes, we did make a pie every day my dad was home from the fire station. I should be 300 pounds. So no complaints here, by the way. But I've added 5 minutes, at least 5 minutes, sometimes 6 or 7, after my workout on the elliptical or on the step mill, just to add a little bit of extra cardio. It gets my breath going too. And for a singer, as we gradually, put on some years, that's one of the things that goes quicker with many vocalists. The vibrato gets a little wider, a little bit less supported. It's a little harder. A lot of that is with the breath. And I decided, I want to keep my breath going. I want to keep in shape. I'd like to add a little bit of that. It just makes me work a little bit harder, makes my heart work a little bit harder. And I start breathing, keeping that breath really, really going. So I added those 5 minutes to my 5 to 6 minutes, and I work out early in the morning. So that's been a little habit there. So I'm able to achieve another little goal. Another thing to do when you are defining your dream job and schedule, how are you going to get there? I will carve out maybe 10 minutes a day to write. If you wanted to write more, and if you're going to establish yourself as an expert, writing is a great way to do that. Or 20 minutes to make calls or to pursue some new leads. And then we go the other route. Or if you need to clear your head and just be writing down your thoughts and doing some of the extra things that would take to, even start a little extra business or spending a little extra time thinking, take those 20 minutes during your lunch or 30 minutes and take that walk, clear your head. And what James Clear talks about in Atomic Habits with that habit stacking, you're just adding a little habit onto something else. So I'm adding the elliptical to a workout I'm already doing. I'm adding the step mill to the workout I'm already doing. If you're going to carve out 10 minutes a day to write, that might be right after you do a morning meeting, or it might be right after your work day. Just put it right after so it becomes a little bit of a habit, and I will guarantee you will move ahead toward your dream. Realize that there's some work involved in this. I've read actually the 4-Hour Work Week. Many of you have already read that as well. Timothy Ferriss' book. It came out a number of years ago. I've read it several different times and referred it back to it. He has some great principles in there. And technically, some of those things are now, we've moved beyond, some of those things. But the principles are still great. But you have to realize that his 4-hour work week happened after several years of 80-hour weeks that he put in because he put in the work. So as you are looking to define your dream job and your dream schedule, you realize, I'm going to probably have to put in a little bit of this work. Going to have to invest in some programs that'll help me get there. That's a very important principle as well. I invest in my business. I just took another online course, of pretty intense course, that I wanted to work on my online programs. And I went on to another membership for this year that has a really good, some principles for creating my message and my mission. And I just needed to be reminded of some of that and to up my game a little bit. So I have committed to my lifelong learning in little areas that I'm looking to grow. I'm going to another conference for a 2-day intensive time of stage skills. So I can up my game a little bit in my keynotes and being spontaneous and working on my stories. So in those things, investing in yourself, taking the time out to do that, carving that time out, that it may take a little more time. If you're at halftime, looking to start a nonprofit, there are many of my listeners that are, I'd like to give more time to a nonprofit. Well, instead of just going full on all of a sudden, carving out a little bit of time to say, I can volunteer in this area, I can sit on this board and do this much time, this week or this month. And I'm still on a nonprofit board. I usually don't do very many of those because I'm really not a meeting person, but I am a giver. So understand that you can do these little things, little at a time. So, and really realize that working remotely, it's definitely possible. And you can expand your reach. You can be able to do so much more worldwide that was never, hardly ever possible before. And it's exciting, actually, and technology is moving very quickly. But there's still no substitution for connection with people. So find a way that you can still connect with people, that you can still connect with who you are and understanding what your specific dreams, what your specific desires are, and then go from there. So I hope that's helped you. Yes, I'm going to review a couple of these things. Yes, definitely go about defining that dream board. That's great, because some people want to live life on vacation, like it's on vacation. So, we hear this phrase so often, I feel like I don't work a day at all in my life because I'm doing exactly what I want to do. I would love that for you at your halftime years, that you are doing exactly what you want to do. That does not mean you're not working, by the way. I'm doing exactly what I want to do. But I work very hard. I start very early in the morning, but I love what I do. I love developing what I do. What I have to do is hold myself back. I have to be realistic in my 90-day increments and in my yearly goals. I have to be very specific, because I will tend to, the artist in me wants to go a million different directions and pursue tons of things. I have a lot of product, and being able to keeping all of those going at the same time, it's a real balancing act. So I have to really be aware of what my time is, because my family is extremely important to me. And I want to be able to spend time with my family, especially, when one of my sons calls and he wants to get together for lunch, or I have a son down for a holiday, and I want to be able to spend those times, just go to the, see a movie together and do all of those things and just totally take those breaks. And my husband loves that too. He loves to be able to spend the time, and time is very valuable. So I'm going to leave you with these little principles. That number one, dream boards are great. Love them. And I'm not going to knock them at all, but make them realistic for your situation at the halftime of your life. Understand, as we've watched I've watched both of my parents, my husband and I, we watched both sides now. But how they were able to do less and less as they were getting a little older. And what was most important to them were relationships and some of the memories that they were carrying. So as you were going through your halftime years, understand in living your life intentionally and with significance and doing what you love to do, it's really, really worth it, because none of us know how long we have. So, I'm not being morbid here. I'm just being realistic. So define who you are, where you want to be, and what you really, really value with your core values. I didn't talk about values too much in this session. That'll be for another session, but that's very important. That's your mission, a personal mission. Number two, define where you want to be, at least for the next quarter. Be very specific for your next quarter, but I would urge you to put one thing for your 5 years, one thing for your 3, and one thing for your 1 year, at least one. You can put more if you want. Some of you are drivers and you're going to put all these things, but be realistic. Think something that you can measure and where you can be there, and then reevaluate. Those can change. Those can definitely change. Number 3, if you want to work virtually, start now. Do not let that technical, any technical issues hold you back, because you can manage that. Basically, you need to know enough to just manage it. So what was that little saying? You just need to, if you're being chased by a bear, just make sure you're in front of the guy that's running with you, and you're going to be fine. So just keep a little step ahead and being able to manage it, and work by referral. I work by referral most of the time, because it saves me time. I make sure that the referral is vetted, and it's a wonderful way to work. And number 4, importance of habits and habit stacking. And make it easy. Make them little tiny habits. And if you've not read Atomic Habits, you need to read that, because the little tiny things can really, really make a difference. I use the illustration of baking powder, and how just a half teaspoon in a recipe, it makes a huge difference in how things turn out. So can a little tiny habit in your life. And number 5, have that lifelong learning attitude, and realize that it is possible. Your dreams are possible. And as you define your dream job, your dream schedule, what you really want it to look like, how much do you really want to work every week, every month? It's not realistic just to say, okay, so next week I'm just going to work 3 days. Now, you might have to put the work into there to really make that habit at some point, but evaluate often. And as you evaluate, look at also some of your professional development. So what books have you read this year, and what do you plan to read this next year? And if you haven't downloaded that planning yearly planner, do that, because I do put some books on that. There are some there. From Immunity to Change, Extreme Ownership, Never Split the Difference. Some of my best books, Building a Story Brand, excellent book. There's a lot of great resources that I've put on that free download, so make sure you do that. So, and I do have a free download for this episode, goalsforyourlife.com/ingredients for success. Again, goalsforyourlife.com/ingredients ingredients for success. And you will really enjoy that, and it'll help you outline some of these things we've talked about today. So as I end, I want to make sure that you know what's next week. It is so, so good. Raising the Bar, Overcoming Hurdles in Life. And I have a great interview with Liz DeClifford. Liz is delightful. She is 78 and still has huge goals. And you will love hearing from her. She's got quite the background. So tune in with me. Don't miss that episode. And again, this is Deborah Johnson, goalsforyourlife.com and womenathalftime.com. And I will look forward to seeing you the next time. Thank you for joining us on Women at Halftime. Visit goalsforyourlife.com and womenathalftime.com for resources, free downloads, and programs that will help you create successful solutions and systems for your ideal second half. Send us your questions to deb@womenathalftime.com. That's Deb, D-E-B, @womenathalftime.com. So until next time, this is Deborah Johnson for Women at Halftime.